Not me, cause I'm too fly. The freestyle fanatic, ooh, my.
Go up here. You guys get to see any other footage or no? They show any footage?
No, we never show any
CGI demos.
but CGI demos and
Oh, that's good.
the time lapse of building the back lot
Oh, that's
right up to
right.
glory.
Yeah, because it's not there anymore.
It's been painful to death.
Yeah, they paintball.
Painful.
So they had a big organized paintball.
Yeah.
It was very serious. 2 months in the planning.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That purple looks like it could use some organized paintball. Yeah.
My purple, my
That's
Dreiberg
sure.
purple, my knit ties.
I love that.
Oh, this is going to be the new fashion trend out of this movie.
Oh, God, I hope not.
The 80s.
Yeah.
No, but they did get into Karnak. I don't know if you've seen it the last day or two.
Yeah, Saturday I was in there in a suit, just going through stuff.
So Jackie was saying earlier that the two of you met on this set in full costume and sort of said, geez, who would have thought 2 years ago that we'd stand here?
I know, because I think we were the first, I think I was the first one in the suit. So nobody had seen, I mean, I guess, well, he had done comedian stuff. No, comedian had shot, but Adrian hadn't been in his suit yet, so it was the first day of Nite Owl. And so, yeah, me and Jackie was before when we break into Adrian. And it was very funny, just before the first take, just sort of looked at each other like, what the hell are we doing? Like, it's like Ronnie McGorvey and Brad Adamson, our little children characters. Like, is this the sequel? What, they just gone way off the deep end here? And we find, the pedophile has donned a mask and become Rorschach. And Brad's found his new freedom as a night owl. No, it was fun. I mean, it was great because, that we overlapped on set a lot on Little Children, but we never...
You guys only have like one scene together in that movie, right?
Yeah, and no lines.
Yeah,
I
just
said
when he's yelling when
at the door.
At the door, yeah.
That's it. I mean, we were
I've seen
all
that
the
movie
while that we were
10 times already.
Really?
Yeah. I love the cowboy
This guy.
Always fast.
Just love that scene with Jackie in the car staring at
I know Chris. Anyway, so
Oh,
because
cool.
of that, I've watched it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do love the movie, even if
Well, when we were shooting all that stuff, that was all in Staten Island. When we were shooting that, he was shooting during for most of the night stuff, and then I would go and do second unit, all the football stuff. So we overlapped a lot. Anyway, that's past.
Yeah, let's move on. I'm sorry.
No.
It was a real shot in the arm, though, for both of you. Like, that movie kind of...
Yeah, I mean, certainly for him, it's exciting to watch. It's always neat to see. You always hate to say resurgence because then you feel like they've been just doing nothing for the past 15 years, and he's certainly had his own life and his own career. But it's always great. I mean, I think that shows through every day with him. I think he's so just so positive.
Mm-hmm.
You see, even in 5 minutes here on set. I mean, that's how it is every day. Everybody's real. Everybody loves. No matter how long the days are, how long the shoot is, it's the most positive set I think I've ever been on. I think because everybody loves this. Everybody loves a graphic novel, so.
And yet it's kind of, it's interesting that there's this sort of upbeat, whistle while you work attitude on this movie that's so, on the face of it, so dark, right?
Yeah, I guess, Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I have no perspective on how the movie lands in a weird way because we're in the middle of it. I can only follow Dan's story, and I get caught up in everybody else's, I guess.
Do you think he's like the audience identification figure for the movie?
I don't know. I think different. I think different people. The easy answer is I think he's probably the most human. I mean, having. But I also think that each of these characters just sort of represents, different sides of like the same person in a weird way. I think, each of them sort of plays one, not one emotion, but certainly one emotion comes to the forefront, whether it's insecurity, whether it's revenge, whether it's, mania, I don't know. Everybody else has got their own sort of vibe, but I think because you're pulling for Dan, because I think he's the most earnest, I think Again, I don't know how everybody else feels. That's how I feel.
That's how I felt.
Well, what's his vibe in your mind?
His vibe, I mean, he's a very complicated guy. I think, one of the things that stuck out to me was reading about the Blue Beetle and how, in the back of the Absolute Edition, when some of the notes talk about how he's almost a Vietnam vet, sort of feeling lost. But what's so informative to me is when you look at the artwork and frame by frame, for a guy that's called a sad sack, he's called all this sort of schlubby kind of, vibes. Everybody else talks about him. Yet look at how many frames he's smiling, and and I always find that so. And I didn't even talk about this before, but because in creating him, in our love for the novel, and being faithful to it as much as we can, I try, because I've never played anybody from a graphic novel, I try to get the physicality and I love to look at how he is, how many frames, even if he's saying something like, a very nostalgic sort of remember when, or something that to me is so heartbreaking, and he's smiling through it. I think he's just eternally positive. I think he's a very complicated guy, and he certainly has his, he's an insecure guy trying to get, his manhood, his guts back, all those sort of metaphors, and it's just sort of, he doesn't feel whole unless he's got the suit on. I mean, he doesn't feel like a man, and I think that's how it manifests itself with the impotence and needing the suit, his fascination with the suit, down to the Twilight Lady, down to, having some, I always felt like that, and even though we don't have that scene, I was very adamant about getting the picture in there. Even if we never, even if it's just in passing, and just you guys sort of notice it, like, there it is, zoom in on it or something. Because that's his fixation, that's one of his one of his flaws, I guess, as an outsider who's not into S&M. But I'm fascinated by his sort of sexual, not even preferences or deviance, but just, what makes him tick. I think it's so much about manhood for him. So many.
Do they have any plans to do, one of the big things you talk about the panels in the comics,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times, his glasses are white. You don't see through. Is that something
that's
you
interesting.
think they're ever going to do, or is that that would be impossible to
Yeah.
pull off?
We played with a lot of different types of glasses. It's funny that you bring that up, because how much, what are his vision problems? And we sort of played with, prescription glasses. I don't wear glasses, but for light and for shape and for reflection, they settled on much more of a flat glass where they do something to it where you don't see a lot of the reflection, just so they could see my eyes. Because we've been trying, I've tried to figure out what his, what his eyesight is like, because in a lot of the frames he just doesn't have them on, and you sort of wonder, well, is he guy just forgets his glasses, or is his eyesight not that bad? And lucky you can justify it with the goggles, them being, them being prescription.
We know the line.
Yeah, well now you do, yeah. We don't have, like in the novel, if you turn them this way, rotate them. So they're not doing the white thing.
All right. I figured that would be tough to pull off, but you guys got so many other things, like just down to the...
Yeah, well, I also think that's just in a weird way how, even like in that frame in Raphael's, when the light's sort of behind it,
Right.
You sort of feel like that's where the view is, like the camera is. And I think that'd be a Dave Gibbons question of just how he draws glasses in some way.
How big a relief is it to you that you have actual sets to work with as opposed to like a 300
Yeah.
where for months on end you'd be in front of a green screen?
I know, I don't, the only time I've ever, I didn't talk to Jerry, Butler, or any of the actors about it since 300. I remember talking to maybe Natalie Portman or somebody on Star Wars, on Phantom Menace and how difficult that was and how to, please don't quote me on saying Natalie Portman said it was difficult, but I mean, I don't even think it's any secret. Like those actors on that movie, have a tough time. I've only ever had sets, so I don't know what it's like. I'm glad that. I mean, you see that owl chamber. I mean, I'm glad that we have all that. The only sort of CG thing that I come in contact with, I guess, is when Billy is there, because he's all in dots and blue lights and stuff. But other than that, it's a very organic experience, It doesn't for however many thousands of VFX shots they've got, most of them are just, owl ship here, flying there, and all that kind of stuff. And Rorschach's pads.
Normally when you desert,
No, just it seems like a very tactile, like the space you're working in down there seems like a very tactile,
Oh, yeah.
dimensional space.
Well, you guys are fans of the book. That's what this thing is. I can't imagine, it's got to be real. It's got to be, the New York has to be, chipped sidewalk, trash, blowing around 80s New York. It can't be
Gotham City.
yeah, or Spider-Man New York, or any of those kind of where everything's, which are awesome, but it's different. It's a different thing here. It's more Taxi Driver than that, I think.
When you go into a film like this and it's not just a regular film that will be released and critics will judge and audiences will judge.
Right.
There's a fan base waiting for this movie. And they're going to judge every frame. This is fucked up. This is perfect. This is that. Do you care? Can you worry about that part? Or do you understand that kind of fervor of the fans?
I understand the fervor. Do I care? Yeah, I care. I mean, I can't help but want people to love what we're doing. We're giving it everything we've got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't say, all you can hope is that, and I'm sure the producers will say this better than I will, but you want to make a film that obviously appeals to the fans, but you want to have a much broader audience. You want to bring it to people that have never seen it. I can't go into it thinking, oh, they're going to hate this or they're going to love this. I mean, that's,
Suicide.
yeah, and that's not really my job. I do, and the other things, whether they like me or don't like me, what are you going to do? I'm sure everybody's got their, favorite person or blah, blah, blah. But there's nothing, I can't control any of that. I mean, all I can do is control what I do. I think being able to, not that you need them to see this, but I think there's enough in there of there will be enough moments where they can just sort of stop it and go to the graphic novel and go, that's awesome. That is just, and it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different vibe, but looking at gestures and faces and moods and all that, you just, you do what you can do.
You make almost back-to-back movies here in Vancouver. You did, I guess, Passengers, it was earlier in the year.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the other actors were moaning about the rainiest fall we've ever had here in Vancouver. Did you commiserate with that? You had it tough. I was here. I was
not
home
complaining.
for It's like, were you used
Not
to
gonna lie to you.
How much of a gap was there between Passengers and this movie?
Oh, God. Quite a while. I mean, I was here. I guess I left in March. So we were back in August. So I went and did
Did
two
they have to
films.
drag you? Like, no, not Vancouver.
Yeah, no, I mean, you didn't have to drag me to this movie. You're crazy. I would have gone anywhere to do this. I think, Vancouver's a great town, but I live in New York. I miss home, sure. But I'm not gonna knock Vancouver. It's been great to us.
Tell us about the back lot. I mean, it was this artificial invented height in New York. I mean, you're a New Yorker,
Right.
Can you buy it?
Oh yeah, I mean, of course you look for. I mean, the thing is, it had to in a 1 block radius, you had to double and triple different angles. Well, for shooting the riots, then we put a scaffolding in front of the Gunga Diner. So so it doesn't look like the Gunga Diner. I mean, there's all that sort of stuff that they did, but yeah, just streetwise walking down the street. There was actually even a sign that said bar, and I swear it looked exactly like the sign I lived on 46th and Nite, and it looked like this bar that's no longer there. They called the Collins Bar, that was on between 46th and 47th on 8th Avenue, and it just said like bar in neon lights, and it was the identical sign. I swear somebody from production went there and saw the sign and was like, that's a cool sign. So that kind of stuff you love, yeah. And all like the weird, like the Judo Master sign and all that stuff that's out of the book, but it's cool to see, just like on the second floor, like guitar lessons by Dylan, I think, or something like that. That's all awesome. Yeah.
Well, you have to put on 20 pounds, you said, right?
Right, I chose to, yeah.
But now, like everybody else, you have to wear these heavy sort of crime-fighting costumes. Is it absolutely killer?
Yeah, I mean, you sweat a lot. The problem is, you get all, especially for the Snow Owl suit, because we do this sort of, the cape, I think, was about 20 pounds, close to, I think it was 18 and a half pounds, on top of your costume, and then almost like a BMX bike. Have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
You felt the capes, too.
Yeah, I mean, they just, the capes, especially my capes, became really, even my normal cape, I think, is over 8 pounds, I think. I mean, you sweat a lot. You sweat a ton, and then if I try not to put the cowl on until we're right before it, because once that's on, and they need to, for close-up, something, glue the nose down or something, then it's just sitting there with a fan. It's the only skin exposed in your whole body is right there. So just
and they've got these industrial strength
Yeah.
special effects little fans, but none of them
Well, they've made themselves. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They've taken apart
It looks like
a
a drill
cordless
bit.
drill
Yeah.
and put a fan on it with a little cooling system on it. It's
very
pretty
good.
awesome.
So when you're in the costume, do you sit there and say to yourself, schmuck, what am I doing? The check isn't enough? Or do you say,
Oh,
this is
right.
the coolest thing in the world?
Anybody
I
who
can't
does
believe I'm
that should
playing a
be
superhero.
kicked right in the... No. I mean, come on. You can't... Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's just, you feel like you're doing something really special and different and odd and awesome, and I mean, it's all those feelings. But I would never, no matter how much money, it had nothing to do with money or, it's such an unbelievable opportunity that I could never sit here and go, this is terrible. I don't like putting on this suit.
Well, I forgot who it was, but there was somebody who was saying, my teacher, Juilliard, must be thinking I'm all my lessons have gone to pot.
You know what? It makes me angry, I think, when actors would say that. That's ridiculous, I mean, I guess if you're playing, but these are some of the most layered, dynamic, interesting, introspective, weird, active. I mean, I put these characters, or I can speak about playing mine, but it's just as hard, if not harder, than doing anything else I've ever done, and it has nothing to do with whether if he puts on a suit or not, I think Christopher Reeve would have said the same thing. I mean, nobody... I just always think it's such a weird comment of like, I don't want to put on blah, blah, blah. I don't want to put on spandex
Or tights.
Or tights, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I did a lot of musical theater. I put on a lot of tights, in college, and you can mock it all you want until you're sweating your ass off in a belly. Studio going, oh my God, I'm terrible. Or like you want, very how athletic that stuff is.
Does all this dress up kind of like take you back to your theater days?
No, I mean, I think there is a sense of, when it's, it's Dan playing, it's me playing Dan playing Nite Owl. I mean, that's the exciting thing. I think it's funny. When we were shooting the scene at Happy Harry's, right? And I didn't have any, at the time I didn't have very much dialogue. We come in, and Orshak is doing his thing, and Pyramid Industries. Anybody ever heard of it? Excuse me. And I'm sort of looking around, and at the time I didn't have any lines until, as we're leaving, and I see the Hollis Mason murdered, and then I go and beat up the knot top. And there was a line in there, and there's a couple lines in there, and there's a whole scene in there in the graphic novel, but it's either Jackie or me, or we just start talking about it. It's like, I think we need to have that line. You have to hear Dan go, all right, everybody stay calm. And it sort of and it was such a great, like as soon as I said that, it felt I don't know what it looked like, but it felt like, right, it's not just, ooh, the Nite Owl walks in and like he's tough. It's like Dan walks in as Nite Owl and he's trying to keep everybody calm. And there's this sense of like, some people sort of giggled, some people thought it was cool, and I was like, that's the tone here. And, it's not making fun of the genre, but it's I'm not an owl, I'm this guy who's been fat. That's what I love. I mean, that's what I love. All the stuff that unfortunately, just for time, had to be cut out of the scene that we just did. But, I swear to you, every single time, every single scene that we do, I always go back to the novel and think is there anything we can get in here? Is there anything, and try to switch the lines around, and maybe we can, can I say this? And Zach has never once said, I don't think so. He's always been, yeah, great, cool. Like if it's because he knows that any idea that you have is because to make it better, to make it clearer, to tell the story better, not, I want to say this line because it's cool and I look cool saying it. So, especially in that scene, because there's so much backstory that goes on in the scene that we just did, talking about how, the line of I was fascinated with birds and airplanes and mythology, that wasn't in the script until yesterday. And I just said, I'd love to get something in there because we lose the stuff about the aeronautics engineering, and I got the MFA at Harvard and all that stuff that maybe nobody needs to know, but I like that Dan tells Lori that, And he was like, that's a great idea, because I couldn't get these two transitions, from just talking about Dad to, and then I became a superhero, because it seemed too comic booky, it seemed too like superhero movies. So that was the cool thing, and he's always so supportive of that, So, anything else?
Very good. Is there one shot, one frame that you're most incredibly excited to catch the iconic image of? Did they do it already? Is it you in front of the...
Me in front, yeah.
Yeah, in front of the crowd.
Yeah.
Did you shoot that today?
We shot that, yeah, 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
It's over there, down there somewhere.
Yeah. That was,
there it is, right here. Yeah, that shot.
yeah, and to be honest, yeah, that was pretty cool. And to be honest, I mean, even though I hate nude scenes, today me looking at the suit, I think that's such an awesome visual in there of just seeing Dan, whether, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to put on the goggles or not yet. That remains to be seen, but at least I'm going to have it in my hand. And just staring at the costume, like full suit, and just naked guy from far away.
I think
that'll-
they have to shoot it both ways. No, you can't, no.
I mean, that way, that one?
The goggles hanging on.
Oh, you know what I mean?
The goggles hanging there.
That's a cool. Oh.
The goggle hanger.
Right. See you guys.
Zach, where should we put the goggles?
That's good.